Hi, I'm Paul, welcome to Skip the Rules, the show that crashes through the rulebook and sends you careering into your brand new game. Today we're going to be running amok, destroying a city while grinning manically in King of Tokyo. In this game you don your favourite unconvincing rubber monster outfit and lay siege to the unfortunate city of Tokyo. Clue rather in the title there, I think. In this game you battle other monsters, smash through buildings and eat the locals. Can you become the most feared monster in the world? Let's skip the rules. So you want to mutate into a giant snarling beast. Let's see how this mean feat can be achieved. We're not going to need this massively lengthy rulebook. Now the board for this game represents the city of Tokyo that you will be attacking. There's only one functional aspect of this board really that takes place during the game, but it does form a nice centerpiece for the carnage. The next thing you'll be presented with are these awesome chunky dice. So using the various symbols on these dice, they do pretty much cover every single mechanic used in the game. Don't be fooled, however, into thinking that this is a kid's dice game, as you'll be poring and agonising over these dice as you start running rampant through town. Destroy a city, you say? Surely that's for bad guys! Well, yes, possibly, but that doesn't mean they're not happy people. The various characters that you've got on offer for this game are reminiscent of pretty much every monster you've ever seen, but I'm told by a reliable source that this is not King Kong, and this is most definitely not Godzilla. Honest. The player boards just give you a simple way of keeping track of your health and your victory points. The energy cubes represent your ongoing need to mutate into something even more fearsome and awesome. The cards represent your possible upgrades and give the ability to grow more limbs, or even just give you a nice recipe for mayo on toast. The tokens allow you to keep track of some of your upgrades. And finally, you've got the pawns, which just show you where your characters are through different points in the game. The city's set up, our monsters are ready, and the Powerpuff Girls are nowhere in sight. Let's start playing. Of course, no game of gratuitous violence would be complete without some fellow hideous monsters. Here we have Emily of Zarthax, and Josh the Slimy, and Smelly, and Ugly.
Hey!
Start by popping the Tokyo City board into the middle of the gaming area, and then put the upgrades deck next to it. Now turn over the top 3 cards of the upgrades deck, so that everybody can see them. Next, upturn your bag of Energon cubes next to Tokyo so that everybody can reach them. The only decision that needs to be made during the setup phase is in dishing out the player boards and tokens that each person is going to be using. In the base game, all the monsters are identical in both function and in ability, so it more or less just comes down to a choice of the one you think looks coolest. Every player starts the game with 10 hit points, indicated by the dial in the bottom right. We also start with 0 victory points, indicated by the only other dial on the board. Now the only decision to make is who goes first. Each of you takes the 6 dice and rolls them. Whoever gets the most claws gets to go first. It then continues clockwise from there. If you happen to roll the same amount of claws as somebody else, simply re-roll until one of you gets higher.
As a starting player, I get first crack at this unwitting city, and I attack not with teeth and not with claws, but with dice. Each player rolls these 6 dice on their turn, and depending on the outcome of the roll, different things happen. The aim of King of Tokyo is to have either 20 victory points or to be the last monster standing. So in this turn, I'm going to go for victory points. These are these numbers on the dice. For each set of 3 of any one number, you get that number on the dice. So, for example, 3 1s would get you 1 point, 3 2s, 2 points, and so on and so forth. You would also get another point for each subsequent instance of the same number. So, for example, for these 3 1s, I would get 1 point. For this other one, I would get another 1 point, giving me a total of 2. Were they 2s, I would get 2 points for the 3 2s, and another 1 point for the 4th 2. Give me a total of 3. If I were to get a 5th one, I would then get 1 more. So for these 4 1s, I would get 2 points, and the other one would give me 1 more point, give me a total of 3. the same is true if you rolled 2s. So 3 2s would give me 2 points. A subsequent 2 would give me another 1 point, making the total 3. Another one would make it 4, and so on. During each player's turn, they can roll the dice 3 times. Their first initial roll plus 2 subsequent re-rolls. In each of these rolls, they can choose to use as many or as few of the dice as they want. So, for example, on my first roll, I get a pair of 2s, in addition to a 1, a claw, and a pair of hearts. As I'm aiming for points, I'm going to keep the 2s and re-roll the others, trying to get more 2s. My second roll gives me a claw, a heart, and a pair of 3s, in addition to the pair of 2s I kept from before. As this gives me nothing, for my second re-roll, I'll decide to keep the pair of 3s and re-roll everything else, including the 2s I already kept. My final roll is a 2, a 1, a heart, and a claw. If I add that to the pair of 3s I kept, I get nothing. Nothing. Like I said, you can re-roll any or all of your dice in each of the 3 goes. Once I've had my third go, I act on any of the dice that I've got, and the turn goes to clockwise, so Paul gets the dice.
The other way to win at King of Tokyo is by smashing up the other monsters. This is where the claw symbol comes in. The first instance where this is useful is moving into the city. The first player to roll a claw takes his pawn, puts it onto Tokyo City, and now controls it. He also gets 1 victory point when he moves into the city. Since Josh got a claw on his third roll, he now moves into Tokyo. He also gets a victory point. Right, now it's my turn. I don't want any Nancy victory points. I want to do some smashing. I want to do as much damage as possible, and I do 1 for each claw that I roll. So I'm going to choose to re-roll any dice that doesn't come up with a claw. I deal damage to anybody that isn't at my current location. So at the moment, as I'm outside the city and Josh is inside the city, he takes 2 points of damage, 1 for each claw. As Emily's outside the city with me, she's at my current location and doesn't take any. If you're inside Tokyo City and can manage to stay there till your next turn, you get 2 victory points. But since Josh has taken some damage this turn, he can choose to yield. That means he leaves the city and I get to take his place. That's my turn finished. Now it's Emily's go.
Another symbol on the dice is a lightning bolt. This represents energy, and you gather them through your battles and they help make you stronger. Once you've rolled your dice and you get an energy, remember you get 3 rolls. Here we go, I've got 4. So you collect 4 energy cubes from the middle. These cubes can be used to make you bigger or stronger. These cards in the middle also give you special abilities or sometimes points. If you want to buy one of these cards, you just see how much they cost, make sure you've got enough cubes, pick it up. This one costs 4, so I put 4 cubes back in the pile, and then I turn the top card over in its place. The card I got gives me a new ability. Like all the cards, the instructions are written in, they're simple and self-explanatory. I'm going to read one out for you, for example this one. It costs 6 energy. It's a discard card, so you get rid of it straight away, and you use it straight away, obviously. Unlike the keep cards, you get to keep those throughout the game. This one gives you 2 victory points, and it deals 3 damage to all the other monsters. If you like, you can get rid of these 3 cards and deal 3 new ones. That would cost you 2 energy. You just put them underneath, put your energy over there, and deal you 3 new cards. So I got 1 claw on my last roll, so that does damage to Paul, as he's in the city, but none to Josh, as he's outside of the city.
Now at this point, I could choose to yield like Josh did. That would mean that I leave the city and Emily takes my place. I'm not a wuss like him though, so I'm going to stay in. Grr.
Since my game plan is to win and not die horribly like Paul here, I'm going to make use of the last symbol on the dice, the heart. For each one of these you roll, you can regain 1 point of health. So, I'm hoping to roll enough hearts to replenish myself back to full, and enough claws to deal some further damage to Paul. Since Paul is in the city, he can't use the hearts because they only work when you're outside. So, no matter how many hearts Paul rolls in his next turn, he won't be able to regain any health. He'll first have to yield the city to someone else, then roll from outside.
No chance. I may have taken a bit of a battering, but I am still inside the city. If I manage to go an entire round, back to my turn again, and I'm still inside Tokyo, I gain 2 victory points. Now, as before, I'm going to focus on combat. This time, however, I'm inside the city when I'm attacking. As before, I damage anybody not at my current location. As I'm the only one in Tokyo, that means, in this case, both Josh and Emily take 5 points of damage.
Still always die first.
If you're at any point reduced to 0 hit points, that means you're out of the game. If this happens while you're inside Tokyo, that means that the monster who killed you takes your place. You can't refuse to yield if you're dead. The game continues in this way until one person's got 20 victory points, in which case they win. Or until there's only one monster left, because all the others have been killed. This game is not a complicated one, but it is a lot of fun. The additional rules for this game are simply a way of including more players, as if you've got 5 or more players, it can become insanely hard to occupy Tokyo City for one turn without using the expanded rules. If you've got 5 or more players, you introduce Tokyo Bay. This just means you've now got the ability to have 2 monsters in Tokyo at the same time. If during that game you attack Tokyo City and there's already a monster there, but he refuses to yield, you take your pawn, place it on Tokyo Bay instead. You're both now counted as being inside Tokyo. This means from this point on that if either of the monsters attack, they only attack the monsters outside and ignore the other monster. Similarly, if anybody outside attacks the city, they count as hitting both monsters at the same time. The only other thing that might look different to new players is the green dice. These just give you extra attacks if you happen to pick the right upgrade cards from the deck. Now, at Skip the Rules Tales, we absolutely love this game. But as with anything, there are points that we liked and there are points that we thought could have been better. The first thing we love is the fact it's nice and simple, which makes it really easy to pick up, but also gives every game a nice fast pace. The fact that it's quick to play also means that when you finish one game, you will immediately be ready for another. And another, 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 and another. The very high production value in the game also means that all of the assets within it feel solid, chunky, and awesome to play with. A couple of the aspects we didn't like quite so much were firstly the fact that the game doesn't feel particularly deep. That can mean that for a group of seasoned players, you are kind of searching for different tactics to employ each game if you want to try and win. The other thing is the very luck-based aspects of the game. Now, this does, on the whole, generally end up with people giggling more often than they are getting annoyed. The final thing that is kind of my pet peeve in these games is the permadeath. This means that if you die early on in the game, you're out, and you then spend the entire rest of the duration of the game watching everybody else enjoy themselves. That's it from us at Skip the Rules. If you found this video useful, please hit like. If you want to hear more from us, hit subscribe. If you want to find out more about Skip the Rules, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, or on our website in the link below. Join us on Skip the Rules next time for your chance to jump into that brand new board game without having to do any of the tedious rule reading. See you later.
Okay.
Stop, don't touch it.
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
The other guy.
No, I don't want to touch Paul. It could be like...
Touching Paul.